everyone, and welcome back to National Graduate Week 2022. I'm Eloise from Career Map, and it's so lovely to see so many of you again on these sessions. If you've been to a previous one, hi again. If you're here for the first time, I hope you're really excited to learn all about a career in construction. So you're going to hear from lots of different panelists about their experiences and giving you some top tips for getting into the industry if you want to. So a couple reminders, as always, this session will be recorded, so you'll be able to come back and listen to it again. If you can't keep up taking notes, you'll be able to revisit and make more notes the next time you listen. We'll also be dropping links in the chat, so make sure you grab those as and when they come up. So if you need to find out more details or if you want to apply to one of the schemes, the links will be in the chat. Any technical difficulties, type it in the chat. If you can't hear us, if you can't see us, anything like that, put it in the chat. I'll keep an eye on it. And questions, definitely put your questions in the chat as and when they come to you. You can either just drop them in the main chat function or you can use the Q&A. That's up to you, whatever you feel is good. And other than that, I hope you really enjoy this session, and I will hand over to the team to tell you more about a career in construction.
Hi everyone, thank you for joining this session about the construction industry. Just to introduce myself, my name's Abby. I work for a company called CITB and we look after training and skills in the construction industry. My role is working on a local level in this area with construction companies, but also working on careers in construction, working with universities, schools, colleges, encouraging people to get into the industry. It's an industry that is quite often overlooked because of misconceptions. So I'm here to tell you about all the different things you could do in construction and hopefully point you in the right direction of where you can find information if you are interested in the industry. So firstly, I'll go on to the next slide, which is just a prompt on what do you think the construction industry is. And I think I could probably guess what comes to mind initially when you think of construction. And it is people on site, particularly men on site, maybe bricklayers, carpenters, painting and decorating. If you're aware of construction, you might know some different roles, maybe groundworks or people on machines and that kind of thing. But you'd probably be surprised to know that this is also construction. The construction industry involves planning, it involves designing of buildings, it's roles on sites, off sites, office based, home based, maybe mobile, working across on sites, off sites, at home, wherever. It could involve marketing, HR, business admin, finance, and all those different roles. It's an industry that is the second highest average pay in the UK. It's one of the biggest and most varied sectors with over 180 different roles in construction. So that in itself is quite a surprising fact. You think, I didn't realise there was so much to it. And it also does involve technology. Construction in the year that we're in now is using BIM, which is Building Information Technology. It involves Building Information Modelling, sorry. It involves CAD, computer-aided design, VR, AR, 3D modelling, drones. So construction is modernising along with the world, and it's a really exciting industry to be in. And there's a job for everyone in construction, as I said, with the variety of roles. And there's a huge skills need coming as well in the construction industry, with over 200,000 jobs being created over the next, even the next few years. So we need to get everyone involved in construction and really dispel those myths and kind of bunk those barriers that are stopping people from different backgrounds to get into construction, because, as I said, there really is a job for everyone. And so speaking about construction, I've just told you there's loads to it, but you probably think, well, what does it even mean to me? If I'm not interested in a job, I've probably got nothing to do with me. So think about the first thing you did this morning. You got up in a house, you woke up, you turned the lights on. The lights wouldn't be possible without electricians. You used water for a shower or brushing your teeth. That wouldn't be possible without plumbing. You use kitchen facilities and gas, electric, all of that kind of stuff. And then even on your journey to wherever you are now, you use public transport potentially. the roads that you've driven on or the pavements that you've walked on, none of that's possible without construction. And it really is everywhere. So construction is where we work, where we live, the things we like to do on the weekend or in the evenings. It's the high rises that you see in the cities, it's the stadiums that you go to for events. So it's everywhere, and we wouldn't be doing all the things that we're doing about the construction industry. And that in itself means there's always a job in construction because it's not going anywhere. So I'll now play a quick video about the industry just to tell you, which will show you a little bit more about those different roles that I've mentioned. So I'll just play that now, and if not, Career Map might have to help me. I hope you enjoyed the funky video. That's from Go Construct, which is the website mentioned there, and something that I'm going to be talking about now. I'm just going to post a link as well to Go Construct in the chat, because that is going to be your go-to place if you would like to look at careers in construction. So on that website, you've got information on all the different careers in construction, how to apply for a job, what the construction industry even is, information on apprenticeships, college courses, T-levels, university, work experience, which is a really important one, different ways to access the industry, case studies, so stories of people that are actually there, which we'll hear from some today, which is brilliant, and hear their story. But every story is different. Lots of people find construction in different ways. It's also got a really useful feature. So that's the website there, as I was talking through some of the points there. So it's really for anyone that's looking for a role in construction, and it can be for young people really looking to get into the industry. Lots of, just basically puts everything in one place for you, so it saves you a lot of time of researching, going on different websites and finding different things. So the next page is one of the best things I think on the website. I find it really interesting. It's called the Career Explorer Quiz, and you go for a quiz. You put the kind of place you would like to work, on site, in an office, outdoors, at home, and you put what things you're interested in, skills that you have, what qualifications you have, and what kind of level you're at, and it can show you jobs that could relate to your skills and your interest in construction. And The second part of that, which is also brilliant, is the job roles. So there's 185 job roles on there at the moment, and you can click into each one of those, read about the average salary. You can read about the kind of what that day-to-day of that job includes. You can look at career progression, what you need to get into that job. Some of them even have the case studies of people in that job at the bottom of them, and then links to adverts and a website called Talent View, which you're going to hear about later on. So Go Construct is the place to look at anything for construction. Basically, it's going to help you to find all that information, and I'm happy to kind of share my contact details as well if anyone wants to get in touch with me to ask any questions. But Go Construct is where you'll be able to find everything on construction. And even if you're not really looking at construction at the moment, I definitely recommend just doing the quiz, because it's quite interesting to see what you could match up to. As I said, there's over 180 different roles, so there really is a job for everyone, and that could be on site and doing something practical. It could be in the office. It could be designing the buildings. There's so much to the construction industry, so there's definitely a job for you. So the last slide, I just want you to think, where is your place? Where is your place in construction? Where could it take you, either in the next couple of years, in the future, or at any point really? So thank you very much for listening to me today. As I said, I've put the link there. I'll put the link to the quiz as well. So if you can have a go at that maybe after the event, and see what your job could be in the construction industry. I'll now hand over to Rachel from Wilmot Dixon, who's going to tell you a bit more about what they do as a construction company, I believe.
Thank you very much. So I'm from Wilmot Dixon. My name is Rachel. I'm just going to go through with you a little bit about what I do and about what Wilmot Dixon are. So I'm the social value manager for Wilmot Dixon. I'm part of the sustainability team, and I look after the social element of all of our projects. Our team is made up of environmental and sustainability experts, and my role can be from anything from going to schools, doing school visits, careers fairs, helping young people and adults gain skills to work in the construction industry, working with young people that may have sort of faced personal barriers, and give everyone access to good careers. Working in social value really allows me to be hands-on with the future generation and open up opportunities to young people and really make a difference in our communities. So we operate out of 6 regional local company offices, which cover London East, South and Midlands, and as you can imagine, all of our projects take us all over the country as well. We build schools, colleges, universities, leisure centres, civic buildings, you name it. So we work closely with our customer and the community to build the future using life cycle costing, energy synergy and sustainable procurement, working closely with our local supply chain partners, offering local jobs to local people. Wilmot Dixon are committed to build purpose beyond profit, maximising renewable energy and reducing embodied carbon, working with our communities to gain a sustainable future. So our purpose is to deliver brilliant buildings, transform lives, strengthen communities, enhance the environment so our world is fit for future generations. In essence, our now or never strategy comprises of 3 elements: brilliant buildings, building lives, a better planet. And everybody at Wilmot Dixon literally lives by these elements. So whether you're actually interested in sustainability or just building, then you really will have an impact in the community. So we have over 200 job roles, none include working on tools. So if you have a passion for design, building, organising, writing, maths, engineering, anything you can think of that actually everybody needs apart from being a doctor, we've got a job role for you. So I'll just go on to our application process. I'll leave it up here for a little bit longer just so you can see. But we do offer management trainee schemes, apprenticeships, work experience. If you're really not sure what career path to take, you can have a little taster of everything, whether that's on site or off site. And this on screen now just shows you our management trainee process. It just consists of a few interviews, and there is an application window between September and December. I did see a question in the chat. Can you have already gone through uni and qualified and then still come across to us and do a degree? Yes, you can. You can do that, absolutely. People change their minds, people change their career directions. You can come through to us, through any walk of life, as long as you've got minimum, maths and English, C grades, or whatever the equivalent is now. So if you take a look at our career, our website, with all the career opportunities, and you can learn a little bit more about our sustainability strategy as well. We'll also put a link into the chat section for that as well. And we're just going to play a short video. It's actually made by our management trainees, and that just gives you a little insight to what we can offer and how much fun it actually is. So I'll play that now.
I didn't actually know what construction was like. I just thought it was builders and men on site.
I thought it was literally you'd be standing in a ditch in the rain, digging holes. I didn't realise that there's a whole office side to the business, and that's what grabbed my attention.
Every day's different really, as a quantity surveyor, working with numbers and making sure that the project runs on time to budget.
We basically pull all of the information together for the site team to then be able to build the job on site.
A digital engineer interacts at all stages throughout the construction process.
Day to day as a planner, I concentrate on the time aspect of a project, the process and the sequence of the construction phase before we get to site.
As an estimator, we try and get the most accurate price.
We'll be out in the field building laptops for people, ensuring they have all the software that they need.
When I was quite a lot younger, I obviously used to play a lot of PlayStation and Xbox. I never thought it was actually going to help. So one of my roles is actually to use an Xbox controller on a daily basis. So yeah, it's come to real good use.
Part of my role is trying to reduce carbon emissions, so it's just about making small changes on site to make them more environmentally friendly.
The thing I love most about my job is the amount of different people that you come across.
Meeting new people.
I love people, I love the people I work with, I love how every day's different.
The variety.
I work on leisure centres, schools, big sports arenas.
Working on Wembley was particularly interesting. I enjoy football, so it was nice to sort of see the behind the scenes.
No 2 days are the same, and you're always learning something new.
I think like a lot of young people, I didn't know what I wanted to do.
My school wasn't big on giving careers advice.
Construction definitely wasn't something that we were told about. So I came to do 2 sets of work experience, one on site, which I enjoyed, and I also did some more work experience in the office and absolutely loved it.
People always assume, oh, what do you do in the office? Or as if you're female, they put this assumption on you. And then I turn around and say, oh no, actually I'm going to be a building manager, I'm going to work on site, and they're shocked. And I love that. And I think, why shouldn't women be building managers?
People don't know about the professional roles behind it and actually the money that is involved. Yeah, the money is good.
It's a decent starting salary, and then it can go up as far as you're willing to push yourself, really.
So you get an iPad or tablet for quality checks and all the things we do on site, which is a much easier way to do it.
You get your travel paid, you get a company car, you get your university paid.
I drive a Mercedes A-Class.
I drive an Audi.
I drive a Nissan Micra.
When I first started my career in the construction industry, I did get a lot of like, oh really, that's the career you chose?
It's been quite funny actually bringing my mates into this office and showing them where I work. They had some kind of misconceptions of what Wilmot Dixon was and what they offered.
Now when I tell them like how diverse my job is and how much impact I get to have in the local communities that we work in, they're actually quite jealous of the role that I'm in.
Look beyond what you're told about in school and in college.
The advice I would give would be definitely to try and get site visits if you're interested in the construction industry, and also try and get work experience. You'll learn a lot on the job.
There's plenty of ways to get to where you want to be. So don't let your qualifications limit you, because Wilmot Dixon will train you up.
I truly believe that there is a job for everybody in construction.
Lovely.
Oh, I think you might be on mute, or potentially there's an issue with the sound. I'm not sure if you guys can hear Rachel. I think Rachel was handing over. Was that right? To someone else? Okay, cool. All right. So whoever's up next.
Hi, everyone. I'm Ganyu Amstar, so I'm a management trainee at Wilmot Dixon. So I'll just talk about a few things, tell you about how I got into construction and the management trainee scheme at Wilmot Dixon. I can see a lot of questions in the chat, and I could probably answer some of them, but hopefully I'll answer some of them in what I'll present to you guys. And then if not, I think we'll answer some of those questions at the end. So I graduated last year from university. I studied quantity surveying. So I'm a management trainee in surveying at Wilmot Dixon. So like I said, I graduated from university where I studied quantity surveying. So in terms of the application process, so I think what I did was in my final year of university, I applied for the scheme in around September, October. I think that's when the application process opened, and I think you had to go through different systems, different processes, and then by the time we got to March, I think I got the job offer. So before I even finished my degree, I knew that I had a job offer when I finished. So that was quite good news for me. One thing I do want to stress is you don't have to have a construction related degree to get into the management trainee scheme at Wilmot Dixon. So if I explain the scheme a little bit, so I'm on the 2-year scheme. Originally, the scheme is actually for 5 years. So what the company does is if somebody comes in at 18 years old after college or sixth form or whatnot, you would be on the scheme for 5 years, and the company would pay you for working and pay for your degree. So you go to uni 1 day a week. I think that's a good route, but I think most people here are graduates. So let's say you studied, for example, geography. It's not a construction related degree. What you would do is you would enter the scheme and do it for 3 years. And what the company would do is pay for you to do a master's degree in something construction related. So then again, I think that's good. And also you'll be getting paid as well. So that's another good thing. One thing I do want to talk about as well is there's a lot of misconceptions. I think Abby touched on it as well earlier, is that, people assume that because you're in construction that maybe you're doing bricklaying, for example, or dry lining, putting up walls or painting. And here at Wilmot Dixon, we're a management company, so we don't actually do any of that. What we do is we manage that. We manage the processes. As you guys can imagine, there's a lot of different companies that come into, are involved in the construction, and we manage that whole process from when the customer comes to us and says, we want to make a school, for example. From that process, we manage that. So what I do is I'll tell you a bit about my role as well. So I'm a quantity surveyor. So what we do is we manage the monetarial process. So let's say, for example, the estimators came to us and said, we're building a school for 100 million. So during the construction process, that's a lot of money to manage. Somebody has to manage it, because by the time the project finishes, we have to have used that money correctly for the customer. So for example, from month to month, what we might do is, for example, the painters might have done some work in 1 month. The next month, they'll want to get paid for that work that they've done. So what I'll do is I'll assess some of the works that they've done, and then pay them what I think they've done, so a fair amount. Also, what we do is something called procurement. So as you can imagine, somebody does the painting, someone does the roofing, someone installs the windows, someone installs walls. So what I would do is try and get these companies in. We'll get quotes from different companies, and then also pick the company that is best for value. And then what we'd do is enter into a contract with them. So there's a bit of contract negotiations as well. So, as for example, they might say they don't like this specific clause or another specific clause, and we'd have to negotiate on which clauses we would enter into the contract. So some of the other things is there's so many roles within construction. So there's, like I said, I do quantity surveying. There's also digital. There's a digital department. So what they do is they deal with the 3D models, and using VR sets as well, things like that. We've got the site management team who actually manage the people on site. So all those different companies that I touched on earlier that might come in, the site managers and manage that and making sure that they do the work to the best quality, to the quality that we expect. We've got the estimators who deal with pre-construction. So before the project even gets to site, the estimators will be working out a budget that we'll give to the customer and say, okay, if you want this building, you can build it for this much or this amount. We've got design managers who manage the design process. So they don't actually do any design. And what they do is they look at the drawings and look at the floor plans and make sure that it matches with the scope and make sure the customer is happy with what we are proposing to build. We've also got a planning team who come up with the program and the schedule of works. As you can imagine, building a school it'll take around 1.5 years, 2 years. So they just manage the program and make sure everyone's working to that program to ensure we build it to that specific program and keep to those dates. I want to touch on some of the rewarding things of the construction industry, because since I've joined, it has been extremely rewarding. It is good pay. I think you get much more than the average salary for when somebody graduates, and then there's the potential to earn 80k plus within the construction industry. So I think that's a big positive for people. As you saw in the video before as well, there is access to company cars, Mercedes, Audis, everything, you name it, it's there. And that's something that you would be able to access if you joined Wilmot Dixon. There's team nights out, there's dinners, free alcohol. So, there's a lot of rewarding things. Also, my own advice as well to give to people is that, when you're applying for these jobs, you might get rejected by certain companies, but don't take that as a negative. Try and use that as experience. So if you've gone to an interview, try and ask why later, after, if, let's say, they reject you, try and ask why you didn't get accepted, and then hopefully that company gets back to you, and then you can use those points to help you. I think before I started applying, I think I went to a careers fair, and a woman told me for every 13 jobs that you apply for, you'll get one. So that kind of gave me a scale of how many jobs you kind of need to apply for before you get one. So I'll just say, don't get discouraged and keep applying. I think there's loads of jobs on careers maps, and another website called Grad Cracker as well, where there's loads of jobs that the companies advertise for that you can apply for. I'll also put into the chat our earliest career link, so you can have a read through the website and see the roles we offer here at Wilmot Dixon. I think if I put it into the chat now, I think you guys might be able to see it. So I'll just say, don't be discouraged, and keep applying. And if you feel like you're not getting it, I would say the best thing to do is to get work experience, because if you get work experience, that's almost like a foot into the door, and you can actually truly see what the industry is like, and you can understand. And I think that would help you in, let's say, interviews, for example, because if you've done some work experience, you understand how the industry is, and you can use that to your advantage in interviews. So that's some of the advice I would give. I've just got some pictures here, some events. So we had a football event with loads of our supply chain partners. So that's the different companies that we bring in. Here we did the Yorkshire Three Peaks. So that was a walk. That was like a 23-hour walk that we did. That was quite challenging. Here, that was on the trainee away day. So we did some abseiling, we did zip lining, loads of different activities. And then here was a trainee dinner that we had. So, there's loads of opportunities there, and I'll just try to show you guys some of the perks. So thank you for listening, guys. And the next person now.
Thank you, Ganu. So first of all, my name is Verse, and I am just going to chat to you about what being a graduate engineer looks like in the construction industry. Ganu picked up on a few themes, but I'm just going to tell you about me and my route into the industry and what I do on a day-to-day basis. So I am, let's just check, going to the next slide. So first of all, I'm going to say a little disclaimer. I'm not active graduate just yet. So I'm currently doing a graduate apprenticeship scheme. So I'm still studying at uni, but also working in the job. I've actually just recently been told that I've currently been on the job for about 3 years, and I've been told that I'm working far and above what an apprentice or a graduate is expected to work at. So I think the experience of my past 3 years is a good indication of what a graduate job might look like. So in 2019, I started my apprenticeship and I joined on the Scottish National Gallery project. So just another disclaimer, I am up in Scotland and that is through in Edinburgh. And on that job, I essentially came in as an apprentice engineer, just trying to learn how to do the job well, how to actually be a good team member to push that project forward. So in my engineering role, I essentially, if any of you have ever done engineering at uni, you get something called a theodolite or a leveling device, and I'm essentially making sure that everything is built correctly. So I am part of the site management team, ensuring that different trades and different parts of the project team are building what they're meant to build properly. As you can see there, I did get quite a lot of responsibility fairly early on. So I was, the one signing the paper saying, yes, I've checked this, and this is good to be used, good to be built on, good to be built over. And as the years progressed, I got more and more responsibility, and my responsibility now is more a site management role, where I have an area of the project, and essentially I got a program from our programming team, and I'm essentially meant to make sure that it's built on time, built correctly, but most importantly, making sure that the guys on site are behaving in a healthy and safe manner. So ensuring that their health and well-being is looked after, and making sure that all site conditions and site practices are safe for them. So over the past few years, I have really enjoyed my role. It definitely wasn't what I thought I'd be getting into when I started civil engineering. I thought I'd be designing concrete, designing steel quite a bit, but I have thoroughly enjoyed it because it's helped me actually see physical and rewards for my hard work. Now the Scottish National Gallery, if any of you know it, it's a fairly prominent building in Edinburgh. So anytime I go past it, I'll be able to say, I added to that, what sometimes might have felt like very stressful days, does have a physical end product. But also in that Wilmot Dixon video, I think another one of my highlights is just the people I meet. The stories I hear. These are guys that I work with day in, day out, sometimes for 6-7 months to a year to 2 years. So you get to hear about them. You get to you feel like you're really making an impact on their lives. And even though it was quite scary coming into the industry and them saying, Versailles, you're essentially in charge of these people, I didn't feel like I had anything to add to them, but it gave me the opportunity to almost be a good boss to these guys. So I found that thoroughly rewarding. But another thing that I found rewarding, that last bullet point, is the ICE training scheme. So again, if any of you guys are civil engineers thinking about studying or have studied that, the ICE is the Institution of Civil Engineers, and essentially they look after your accreditation, make sure that you're you're worthy to work on projects and such. And the Tilbury Douglas, the company I'm working for, currently has a training scheme. So they make sure that you get the right experience to tick off different attributes for the ICE to say, yeah, we are willing to back you, that you are competent and ready for bigger and more prominent jobs. So that is me. You can type any questions in the chat. What I'll also do is post my LinkedIn if you'd like to get in contact with me personally, and I'll also post the early careers page for Tilbury Douglas if you would like to explore any of the jobs at Tilbury Douglas. So I will quickly post it in the chat. I have looked at quite a few CVs and cover letters and such, so I would also be very happy to, if you want to send yours over for me to give you a bit of advice, what you can add, what you might take away, how to really give your best impression to a potential employer. So my LinkedIn will be in the chat, and so will the area careers page. And I believe after this, I am passing over to Clive, who will tell you more about the roles in construction.
I think, Clive, are you able to hear us at all? I think you just double check that you, oh, there you are. And then just unmute as well, and then we're all good.
That okay?
Perfect, perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So good afternoon, everyone. My name's Clive Jennings, and I'm the engagement manager here at Talent View. I look after a couple of platforms, Talent View Construction and Talent View Aviation. I'll talk about Talent View Construction this afternoon. So we have a number of platforms that we handle or look after for the UK government. As you can see there, we've got 5 different platforms, from early careers in construction to the skilled workers across the UK. And all of our sponsors are people like the CITB, Go Construct. They're obviously on the call this afternoon, and the National Apprenticeship Service, and BAYS, and the CLC. So what is Talent View Construction? It's a launch pad. It was launched, in fact, in 2020 to help the industry, because the UK government were forecasting that they were expecting something like 57 to 60,000 people would be displaced or at risk of losing their jobs, their skilled jobs. And at the same time, the industry was expecting 4.4% growth with new opportunities coming into the sector, which basically means something like 27,000 new jobs for early careers, looking at the digital skills. Some of the things that the other presenters have been talking about in the other slides from Wilmot Dixon, for example. It's a completely free platform that helps young people find the construction jobs within the construction industry. I had a quick look on the platforms before I came on the call, and there are something like 2,500 construction jobs being advertised on the platform at this moment in time from the construction sector. So basically, as I said, as things stand, there are something like 266,000 additional workers that will be required in the UK construction sector by 2026. That's obviously looking at huge figures, as you can see from the slide, growth year on year. All 9 English regions plus Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland are set to experience growth. So it's not just the UK or England specifically. And as I said, in terms of recruitment, as demand soars, most affected areas will be private housing, infrastructure, repair and maintenance. And there are something like 2.78 million people currently employed or will be employed within the sector by 2026. So, as I said, basically the government, because of the expectations and the changes and the challenges on the construction sector that they're expecting, one of the things that we did was set up a scheme looking at 2 platforms. So we've got Talent View Construction, TVC, as it's affectionately known, for early careers, and we've also got one for the skilled workers as well. But it's basically one registration, but it gives you access to both platforms. This is what you'd see typically if you go onto the platform and look at it. But the whole point of having the platform is to try and help young people looking at opportunities that are coming from employers to increase the skills and find the right people to get them into the industry. There are no fees. I have to say this. There are no fees. There's no recruitment agency involved. It's just a straightforward a person registered on the platform, once you're registered and accepted on the platform, you can upload all your details, all your CV information, your resumes. And once you do that and you go live, it means that employers can contact you directly. And if you've got the right credentials, right background, right skill set that they're looking for, it just means that you have direct contact rather than going through a third party. This is on your screen there. That's what you would typically see, which is the skilled worker platform. And again, same thing for construction work, existing construction workers, as well as the early careers. It's open to all trades. It's supported, as I said before, by the BAYS, CLC and CITB and employers. And basically, this is what happens. It basically takes one registration, it takes all of that information, and it networks you and finds you the right kind of role, whether it be with a company, whether it be in an area. And you've got lots of opportunities. When you look on the platform, you can look without applying, etc. You can look by, as I said, by company. You can look by area and postcode. So you've got all of that opportunity. And all I can say is I just wish this was around when I was 15 years of age and I was thinking about a construction career. So for an individual registering on the platform, this is typically what you would see. So this is my dashboard. It allows me to build a personal profile and attach my CV. I can choose job interests and locations. I can make myself visible, my profile to employers if I'm looking for opportunities. And then I can set and search for opportunities and set alerts wherever as a graduate, you probably, you're more sort of flexible and diverse where you can work and work opportunities. So you've got more flexibility than like a young apprentice, for example, that is limited in terms of their possible travel. For organisations, if I'm an employer, once I've registered on the platform, I can set up my company profile. I can post all job vacancies and opportunities. That's everything from apprenticeships, T-levels, tasters, work experience. I can put everything I like on there, and then it will help me find the right kind of person and recommend to me through the platform those people I might be interested in talking to. This information is slightly old now. We've got 110 colleges on the platform out of 260 across the UK. We've actually got 43 or 44 universities on our platform. We've got 9 schools. That is going to grow considerably as we get into people looking to work with your schools and young students, anything from year 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11 to just help them find their vocation in life. So all I would say is there's a platform there. Sign up and create your own profile. If you've got people that you think would benefit from knowing about the platform, please introduce the platform to them. Let us know if you wanted to take part in any PR, marketing case studies, as the case may be. You can sign up to our monthly newsletter. It goes out, and there's obviously regular LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram feeds. And if you look at the bottom, there is a toolkit for organisations and people to use on that LinkedIn situation there. And those are my contact details. If anybody wants to get in contact with either Christian or myself, happy to have a conversation. And just to finish off, if I may, I'd like to just share this video with you, but basically sums up everything within a couple of minutes.
Lots of young people, career changers and colleges told us they wanted one place where they could easily find apprenticeships and first roles in construction. They also wanted to find traineeships, work experience and other ways to get started in a great new career. Employers told us they wanted a way to promote opportunities in their organisations and to search for suitable candidates. That's why we created Talent View Construction. Talent View Construction is a free platform that helps match great talent with great employers. Think of it as a launchpad for careers in construction. brought to you with support from a wide range of employers, industry bodies, professional institutions, colleges and universities, and construction unions. Talent View can help those new to the industry launch their career. Employers find the right talent. And schools and colleges looking to help students get employment in construction. And best of all, it is completely free for everyone. No ads, no hassle. Sign up and get started today.
Oh, I think just sorry, it mutes everyone when the videos play. Was that all from your side, Clive?
Yeah, thank you for that. I was just going to finish off and say, if anybody's got any questions, let me know, or they want to get in contact and learn more information. As I said, my information's there. And thank you for your time and attention and listening this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you for a really interesting presentation. And I definitely learned a lot about the construction industry that I didn't know as well. So I feel like it's been really enlightening. So thank you so much. And I wonder whether you want to jump back on. We have a lot of questions. We've got about 15 minutes or so. So I will try and pick out the ones that are most, well, you guys have been answering a lot in the chat as well. So I'll try and pick out the ones that you haven't already done. All right. So I was just looking at one from Caitlin. Caitlin was asking about the Xbox controller. She had another question as well later, but do you guys remember that in the video where it's saying like, oh, you use an Xbox controller in your daily work? How would that work? What kind of jobs involve that sort of skill set?
I'm sorry. You could go.
No, you go first. You go first.
No, I was gonna say I'm not part of the company that advertised that, but I think so in construction you do get a lot of 2D drawings, so like printed out paper. But what's really helpful is 3D modeling, so being able to see it in 3D space. This is often done in computers, but can also be done with VR headsets. So you can, you guys are all young, you know what VR headsets are. Put them on, you put yourself into the space, and you can see what it's going to look like. And sometimes that there can be rooms set up with projectors and screens where you can see the video around you. And I imagine he was using the Xbox controller to walk around in that building and to just kind of explore the space, see what it's going to actually look like, see how all the different disciplines interact. So I imagine that's what it was. But you can correct me, Robert Dixon, if I'm incorrect.
No, you're correct. Just to add to that as well, yeah, you're definitely correct. Because in my first week, they actually, during our induction, we got to use those VR headsets, and we had like a joystick, and you could like see the building and go into different rooms. And this is before it's even been made. So this is just like the design bit. And what that would be used for is to show the customer, like to help them envision what the building would look like before it's been made, so that, just to check whether they're happy with everything and things like that. So that's when you would use that. So that would be in the digital department.
That makes sense. So the actual question that I was looking for from Caitlin before that one, although that one was super interesting, was this one about workload and responsibility. So how do you manage your workload? And because I guess a lot of these jobs, they sounded like you have a lot of responsibility quite fast. So how do you manage that with all of the demands of the working world as well? Yeah.
Okay, so it's because we don't know who's going first. So yeah, there is quite a lot. I would say as a management trainee, I think they understand, the company understands that, you're kind of new to the business, so they won't just dump a whole load of work for you to do. They'll kind of ease you in, and then as they can see that you're managing that process, then they'll start to slowly give you more. But I'd say one thing I do to manage my workload is when I feel like I have a lot of things, I'd probably maybe write it down and then do like a tick box, because that kind of it kind of gives you that good feeling once you tick it off that, okay, I've done that, so you can manage. And then also it helps for example, if someone else wants to try and give you more work, for example, you can kind of go, well, I've also got to do this, and I need to finish this first, so that they understand how much work you have. So yeah, that's one way. And then also asking a lot of questions as well. So you don't want to just be stuck on a task and not moving forward. Try and ask for help.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was just going to say, if you're an apprentice or if you're a grad, take full advantage of that. You know, they'll know that you don't come in with all that much experience, so they will definitely not be expecting as much as they would from somebody who's been in the business 4, 5, 6 years. So this is your opportunity to learn.
On roles that you're seeing at the moment, or are there like trends in the roles that you're seeing, all of the jobs that are available?
I think, to be honest, it all depends where the opportunities are across the UK, because obviously every company is different, every area is different. You've got there's lots of stuff going on in the Midlands at the moment, you know, and I'm particularly heavily involved with the West Midlands Combined Authority. But in terms of if I were to do an analytics, I think it's just very diverse, because, as I said, it depends on the company and the work that's being carried out in the different areas. So I think that's a bit of a difficult question to answer, because it's just so widespread.
Yeah, it's definitely that was a big question to tackle, but yeah, that makes sense that it would be dependent on industry.
Can I just add as well? Sorry. The company I work for, CITB, does a lot of research into the skills needs, and we do something called a CSM, which is a forecast of what's going to be needed for the next 5 years or so. And I just had a quick look on there. As Clive said in his presentation, private housing is massively going up. Everyone could probably tell you as well that the housing crisis itself in England and probably all over the UK, we need more houses. We're seeing a lot of, in my area, we're seeing a lot of the new build developments, and that includes all roles in construction. As people have said, it needs to be designed, but then it needs to be actually built. And the traditional roles are actually really highly in demand at the moment, such as bricklaying, scaffolding, and all those on-site roles, as well as, I think the skills need, what it says is non-professional roles, which isn't very clear on the website. So it's technical roles that it's saying probably all over the UK. So there's so much to construction, and I think someone also asked about jobs. Does it kind of go on and off? I think there's so much going on that it's just not going to be, there's no chance for it to be on and off, especially working for a larger company. I deal with a lot of the micro, so even 2 to 3 POIEs, but they're actually people that started on apprenticeship and now run their own business. So there's such a variation. You know, you could start on doing a skill you really love and you could make your own business out of it and work locally, or you could work for a large company in management roles, as everyone's kind of been explaining. So there's demand everywhere.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you that question, actually, the one about unpredictability. So if you have a big project, for example, that sort of seems like maybe there'd be times when there isn't a big project, but maybe it's just the case that there's always going to be a new big project, so the skills are always in demand a bit.
Yeah, I think from what I see, dealing with the companies that I speak to, I deal with over 1,000 employers just in the Essex area. There's, I think it's near 200,000 employers in, I don't know if it's just England actually, but there's a lot. There's so many different types of businesses, and I barely see any that say, "Oh, we are not that busy at the moment." Maybe on the smaller scale, if it is, you know, a very small company that you're joining, that are doing more local work, but even some of them are working up in London on big jobs. So it's really varied, and I don't really hear many that are short of work.
Yes, I think that's one of the main ones. Companies want to see that you're actually interested, and I think one way to show that is to have gone and done work experience, and you'll probably be asked like what you've learned during that time during work experience. So those are the two that come to mind first of all for me.
Yeah, and I think there was a question saying, you know, what's really impressed me about cover letters and CVs that I've seen, and I think it seems quite simple, but is not often done. So actually just answering the questions or answering the needs that the company's putting out. So if they're saying that they're looking for a, you know, proactive person who's worked in a team, you can use your uni experience, college experience to say, I've worked in a team in this project or in this assignment, and you know, this is what I brought to the team, so that they'll see, you know, what are they actually going to bring to the company. I think actually just putting in the results of your actions is been a very good indicator that, okay, this person's actually saying or meaning what they've said, and hopefully they'll bring that to this company. So essentially just answer the question and put in the results of what your actions actually did, because that will really help them, the hiring manager, see what you are like as a person and what value you can add to a team.
I love that, giving some real sort of data and backing it up.
That is my role in that, or I help do this. And don't underestimate the skills you've already got. You're doing degrees, you have to organize yourselves, you have to commit a lot, you have to have a lot of, you already have a lot of skills, I think, that you won't even realize ready for work. That's something that I realized when I did a higher apprenticeship. So, you know, draw on those skills, draw on the things that you do outside of university, maybe a part-time job that you're doing, or any activities. I played netball, and even though it wasn't for like a grad scheme, but I was applying for the higher apprenticeship just after my A levels, and I spoke about being part of the team and problem solving and trying to encourage people to, when we were having maybe a tough match, and apparently that was what was most interesting to the person that was interviewing me. So I was quite surprised by that, and I just think that's something that you can bear in mind when applying for these things.
If I may, could I just add two key takeaways to anybody out there that's looking to get into a company? Do your research about the company, identify what they're about, what the key values, the core values of the organisation, where they were, where they've come from, where they are and where they're going. And then obviously the other thing is the show them or do recommend, is do the research about the company, look at the job profiles, job descriptions, and I think that will help you a lot.
That's really helpful. Thank you. And Rachel, any last words of wisdom in our last minute that you want to pass on? Any top tips for success?
Be yourself. Be yourself. And Wilmot Dixon is a great example of a company that look for people that are yourselves. Everyone is individual. You all got something to bring to the table. So bring it.
I love that. What a great note to finish on. Well, thank you, everyone. And there were lots of people in the chat with really specific circumstances that you wanted to double check, like what is applicable to you. I think following the links that we have in the chat. So if you scroll down, grab those links, go to those platforms, a couple of LinkedIn profiles as well, very kindly in there if you want to connect. And yeah, other than that, thank you so much for coming to talk to us today. I found it personally really helpful, and I know everyone else did as well. So thank you so much. And as always, this is recorded, so come back, check it again if you need those tips again. And other than that, have a wonderful